Hey, it's Kinsey Ray. I specialize in coaching growth-minded people on how to build online businesses and earn income from their phone. And I want to talk to you today about some clarity I've had on what exactly depression is. I feel like I've been seeing a lot of people online talk about that they're going through a hard season. People are going through it. You might be struggling with your mental health. A friend you know might be struggling with their mental health. And so please share this with them. You can tag them, but I know people out in the world need this message. As Mrs. Utah International this year, my platform Happier Days is really focusing in on diving deep on depression and self-harm and mental health and giving you guys tools and ideas and perspective shifts to help you take control of your mental health in a positive way. And I think a lot of conquering your mental health is creating an awareness around it. And so I am no stranger to struggling with my mental health. I have gone through various seasons of dealing with deep seasons of depression, feeling sad, grief, all sorts of stuff. And I don't think you have to be diagnosed with depression or diagnosed with a mental health struggle to experience these emotions. I believe that we are here to experience emotions on all ends of the spectrum here in this human experience. You're going to experience the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. And so you're not immune to experiencing seasons of depression. Right? You might not have depression, but you might go through a hard season of depression. You might go through a hard season of intense down feeling emotions. You'll go through grief, heartbreak, failure, right? All these hard, yucky emotions, we will all experience them at some point. So I don't think that you have to say, well, I'm not diagnosed with depression, so this doesn't apply to me. I think this applies to everyone at some point in their life with some season that you're going to go through because life happens to all of us. It's part of the human experience here. And so I've had various seasons of experiencing depression, of experiencing depressive feelings. When I was 15 years old, I struggled with self-harm. I lost my sister when I was 19 years old and I experienced grief at a very young age. And then, throughout my adulthood, I've gone through just various seasons that were hard. And now being a mom in postpartum and experiencing the wild world of fluctuating postpartum emotions, I'm definitely experiencing another hard season once again. I was terrified to have a baby because I was terrified of what postpartum depression would look like and what postpartum emotions would look like for me. And it's been hard. It is hard to navigate these crazy hormones. It's been sneaky for me to where I think I'm good. And then, I realize, no, I'm not good. I really am struggling with my mental health. And so I've had a lot of awareness around this, and I wanted to share some thoughts that have come up, a perspective shift that I've really had around what is depression, right? When you're dealing with depression, when you're going through a mental health struggle, you can put whatever word you want on it, okay? The voices in your head get loud. You are feeling sad, you're feeling lost, you're feeling hopeless, you're feeling like you're not enough, you're feeling like you don't fit in, like whatever you want to label that. Maybe you don't call it depression, but just those really low seasons where you're feeling very yucky, very unconfident, not like yourself, don't feel like anything is possible for you, and you just want to lay in bed all day. You don't really have a lot of motivation to get stuff done, right? You can slap whatever label you want on that, but for me, I know I'm in a depressive season when I'm experiencing that. And so what I've realized is I've been going through these crazy postpartum emotions, and my mindset, I've really had to fight really hard to keep my mindset in a good spot and stay on track and not let these emotions allow me to spiral. And it's been really, really challenging. And as I've been really working through this and really fighting to stay on the positive side, I've realized that depression is viewing your life through a skewed lens that's not true. At least for me, I've noticed this in my patterns and in my seasons of life where I'm struggling with my mental health. I am viewing my reality through a skewed lens, and it's telling me a story that's not true. These voices get really, really loud in your head, and they're viewing your reality through a lens that's not actually factual, and they're giving you feedback, and they're giving you the story about yourself and about your life that's not true. And so it's up to you to create the awareness of these stories that you're being told, and an awareness of these voices that are in your head. They get really, really loud. They tell you all sorts of nonsense about yourself, and it can be really challenging to determine what is true and what is not true. And so I want to encourage you, if you're going through a hard time right now, which I know a lot of people are, right? A lot of people aren't showcasing that they're struggling with their mental health. I certainly haven't been showcasing I'm struggling with my mental health, but I have been. Postpartum emotions are freaking wild ride, man. It's wild out here, okay? Those hormones are crazy, and they're sneaky too. But I want you to ask yourself, are these thoughts that I'm telling myself, whatever it might be, because it's different for everyone, but are these thoughts that I'm telling myself the actual truth of how things are? Or am I viewing my life through a lens of an old story, of a skewed reality that doesn't actually serve me? Right? When I was struggling in my season with self-harm when I was 15 years old, this is a great example. The story my brain was telling myself through this skewed lens that I was viewing my reality through was, nobody likes me, I'm unloved, I have no friends, and I would not be missed if I wasn't here. Right? That was the story that I was telling myself, that I was all alone, nobody cared about me, nobody loved me, I wasn't worthy of love, nobody would notice if I was gone. And like, that was the story I just kept telling myself over and over again. And the more I told myself that, the more I believed it, and the more alone I felt, and the more proof I got of this story that I told myself. Now that I'm removed from that season of life, and I can look back and reflect on 15-year-old me and the reality, the truth of what was actually going on, I had a family that loved me. I had friends that cared about me. If I wasn't here, my family would be devastated. My family would miss me very much. My friends would miss me very much. But because I was viewing my reality through this skewed lens, I couldn't see any of that. The voices that were viewing my reality through this skewed lens, they were so loud and they were so convincing, and I was unaware of what was going on, that I couldn't decipher that the story that was being presented to me wasn't actually true. And I'm experiencing it again now in this new season of emotions and all sorts of stuff going on in my brain, that once again, I have this story that's being played to me about who I am and the things I can and can't do, and like all of this feedback that I'm getting, and it's not true. Right? I was talking to Taylor the other day, and I was just telling him like how I was feeling and what was going on in my brain, and he's such a great outlet and safe space for me to just talk to him about all the stuff going on in my head to help me sort through it. And I told him one story that I had been seeing through the skewed lens that my crazy brain is looking at my life through for a minute, and he gave me the biggest perspective shift, and he was like, everything you just told me isn't true. And he said, look at this example, and this example, and this example, and this example. All of that stuff that you were saying to yourself, it's not even true. And so that's where I had this epiphany of these voices in our head when you're struggling with your mental health. They're so convincing, but they're not looking at the actual facts. So I want to give you guys a couple tips to really start to pay attention to this and create an awareness around it, because I think awareness is huge when it comes to your mental health. Creating an awareness of, as you're telling yourself this story and as the voices in your head get loud, telling you all sorts of stuff about yourself, right? Like I said, it's different for everyone. You need to ask yourself, is this the actual truth? Is this the reality? Are there facts to back this up, or is this just a story that I'm viewing my life through a skewed lens? And I think a great way to do this is to create a safe space for yourself and find a trusted friend. Maybe you need to go to therapy and get a professional to help you. Maybe you can talk to your spouse, but find someone that you feel safe and comfortable with to open up and take all of your ugly thoughts going on up here, get them out of your mouth, Because half the time when you say it out loud, like that usually is what happens to me. Like I'll be saying all this nonsense in my head of what's going on and these crazy stories I'm telling myself of all this stuff that is not true. And then I finally bring myself to get it out of my mouth, and I'll tell my husband about it. And as it comes out of my mouth, I can hear how not true it is. I even say it, I'm like, well, that's not actually true. Why was it so convincing when it was stuck in my brain? The thing that just came out of my mouth is not factual. Why was I convincing myself that it was the truth and exactly how my life was, as it was just spinning in circles in my brain? So I feel like 90% of the battle of your mental health is just getting it out of your mouth so it can stop bottling up and festering inside. So having that safe space is so important. A safe space where you can take all of the ugly that's going on in your brain. That's what I refer to it as. It's just ugly. They're ugly thoughts, they're ugly voices, they're ugly lies, they don't serve me. All of the ugly that's going on in your brain, get it out of your mouth in this safe space where you feel safe to say whatever you have to say, no matter how ridiculous it sounds, where you feel seen, where you feel heard, where that person will allow you to just say what you need to say and get it out. And then they can help offer that perspective shift. They can help you actually see the truth of your reality and help you remove that skewed lens that depression has in front of your eyes right now, of viewing things in a negative light or viewing things from an old story that does not serve you. Because I'm so thankful for my husband. He does this for me, and it's been a practice. Communication has not been my best skill. Learning how to get the ugly out of my head to come out of my mouth has been one of the hardest things that I've had to learn how to do. But in the process of learning how to do this and finding a safe space that doesn't judge me, and I can say my crazy thoughts out loud, and then once they get out of me and I say them out loud, I can start to work through them and actually look at them from a completely different perspective and say, oh, this story I'm telling myself, it's about an old version of me. It's not about current me. I'm telling myself an old story that doesn't serve me. I'm viewing my life through an old lens that's no longer my reality. And I can start to go and pick out social proof in my life that challenge this story that's going on in my head. Right? This story of lies going on in my head, and when I can get it out in my safe space of who I trust that I can talk to about this, I can start to look at it in the full picture and go, oh, well, that's not actually true. I do actually have friends. I am actually loved. I am making a difference. My business is thriving, whatever it is, right? Whatever story is going on, I'm actually able to go look at it in a very clear view instead of it just scrambling up in my head. So I don't know if this relates to anyone or helps anyone, but I know I can't be alone in the ugly that goes on in your brain, and it makes you feel crazy, and it makes you feel awful and yucky, and that you're not making progress. But I want to encourage you to start creating an awareness around it, that story that you're telling yourself in the low seasons, in the hard seasons, in postpartum, whatever it is, those stories don't serve you, and I would bet you $1 million that you're viewing your life through a skewed lens that's not actually true. It's not facts. It's not the actual reality. And so it's so important to go and create a safe space. Like I said, if you need to go get a therapist, if you need to go talk to a professional, please do. If you can talk to your spouse, please do. If you need to go find a trusted friend, please do. Find somebody that you can talk to get that ugly out of you. Be able to look at it in its factual, like what it is and what it isn't, and start to sort through it. And that's really what has helped me a ton in this season of postpartum, as I've been battling my mental health and all sorts of crazy postpartum emotions. I've had to just realize this story I'm telling myself is not the actual truth. It's a lie, and it's my life is being viewed through this skewed lens of old stories that don't serve me and old realities that are no longer a part of my life. And I think once you can create that awareness around it, it no longer has the same power over you. And I just want to send some love to anyone who might be struggling with their mental health. I want you to know you're not alone. I know so often when the voices get loud and we're going through a hard season, it feels like we're the only ones who are struggling because of the highlight reel on social media. Because everyone makes it seem like they don't have any issues. Everyone makes it seem like they're perfect and it's all hunky-dory. You are not alone in feeling like you're having a hard time. You're not alone in struggling with keeping your mental health in check. You're not alone with the crazy voices in your head telling you nonsense stories. And I want you to know it's going to be okay. Nothing good lasts forever and nothing bad lasts forever. And I find a lot of peace in knowing that, and a lot of peace in that understanding about life, that it's okay to go through a hard season. It's okay to experience hard emotions. There's nothing wrong with you if you're experiencing hard emotions. There's nothing bad about experiencing hard emotions and going through depressive seasons. You don't have to have it for you to experience depressive emotions. It's okay if you're feeling sad. It doesn't mean you're broken. It doesn't mean that you're destined to be sad forever. It doesn't mean anything's wrong with you. You're just experiencing a human emotion. And that is what we are here for. We are here to have a very human experience. Welcome to the human experience. You're going to experience every emotion on every end of the spectrum, and that is what we signed up for. Where did we sign up for it? I have no idea. Why did we sign up for it? Because it's blissfully amazing. Because the good emotions are the best. They're the highest of highs and the most mind-blowing experiences. But to truly appreciate them, we have to experience the polar opposite. And remember, this too shall pass. The hard seasons are temporary, just as the good seasons are temporary. And we need to learn to love and appreciate both. Find the learning lessons in the hard seasons, soak up the good seasons while they're around, and do our best to enjoy every aspect of this full spectrum human experience. So I hope you got some value out of this today. I hope if you're struggling with your mental health, this gave you some perspective that if the voices are loud and you're feeling yucky and the ugly is noisy in your head, you're not alone. I've been hearing it too. I've been experiencing it too, but having this awareness that it's not real and it's just a skewed lens that I've been viewing my life through has helped me a lot to just shift that story and shift that perspective and move through it in a positive way. So I wanted to share it with you, and I hope this message finds who needs it today. So I encourage you, please share this. There's more people struggling with their mental health than you could possibly know, and you never know when you share a video that it'll find the person that needs it. It keeps someone here one more day. It gives someone hope to keep on fighting. I'm so sick of hearing of people ending their life because they felt like there was no other answer. I'm sick of hearing of people feeling like they didn't have someone to talk to when there's a world of people that would rather hear your problems than hear that you're no longer here with us. So please reach out and get help if you need it. Reach out to a trusted friend, family member, spouse, professional. Like, you are supported, you are seen. We want to hear about your problems, not hear that you didn't feel like you had anyone to talk to. So I love you, I appreciate you. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you guys soon. My name's Kinsey Ray.